So that last round was very quick, and we are going straight into this next one. Or at least I am. This is going up the next day from that last one. Welcome guys, Ninja Nick 333, and we are back with another round of the Champions League. In Japan, it is E block standard format. Rotation has happened to where D block is no longer legal. We do see this is maybe a Lugia deck on the right. No, it's got a basic fire energy. Maybe a Lost Box Charizard deck? Not quite sure, but some sort of Lost Box deck here on the left. We are going to have to see who comes out on top. It was a Manaphy start with just a basic fire energy attachment on the right. Both of these players are 8-1. We're going to have to see what is gotten off of this Battle VIP Pass, most likely Comfey and Radiant Greninja, unless the Radiant Greninja is in prizes, in which case you would get second Comfey. Looks like we are going to go for the Cramorant instead. Usually I prefer to just try to draw into the Cramorant, maybe search it out with a Nest Ball that you would get over the course of some flower selectings. That way you can get as many cards in the Lost Zone as possible on turn 1. Although getting the Cramorant here is not the worst case scenario, just because your opponent is, and if you have the Colress's Experiment in hand as well, you already have 2 Comfeys that can get 2 cards in the Lost Zone, plus a Colress's Experiment will get 2 more, then you'll be able to guarantee to attack with the Cramorant, so not the worst decision to get it out here. You would be able to one-shot this Manaphy on turn 1, and immediately take a prize card and have your opponent on such a back foot. Looks like we are also getting this Drapion into the Lost Zone pretty early. It's safe to say that you're not against Mew right now, since you saw a basic fire energy and 2 Pokemon that are not Fusion Strike. So you definitely don't be needing that Drapion here. We are going to see an attachment of a basic water energy. We are going to retreat into a third Comfey, third flower selecting. We're going to see yet another 2 cards deep. Going to Lost Zone a Nest Ball here. So as I said, getting that Cramorant would have been... getting that Cramorant later would have been fine, because you could have just used the Nest Ball here. So that Escape Rope could have gotten you 1 more Comfey deep. You could have gotten 4 in the Lost Zone that way. And as long as you had 1 more switch card in hand, you would have had the knockout. Or at least the attack, because you did have to Escape Rope and force that Charizard up. So Radiant Charizard now active, can't attack because it does have a 5 attack cost this early in the game. Radiant Charizard attacks for 1 less colorless energy for each prize card your opponent has taken, but so far your opponent has taken 0. We do see the Pokegear 3.0 constantly being reprinted here. I do love that art. That is the girl trainer art. They have a pink one as opposed to the boy trainers in the video games that have a blue one. Plus it's hollow. I do like the hollow on it. We are going to get a Colress's Experiment off of here though for it. So this is pretty safe to say that this is Radiant Charizard Lost Box. We are going to get 2 cards into our Lost Zone, get 3 new cards into our hand, and we'll have to see what the decision is. If there is a way to move this Charizard out of the active spot. Since it's no longer turn 1, any Battle VIP passes that are found are going to be Lost Zone fodder and are not going to be able to get any basic Pokemon into play. So it's going to be a lot harder to see those Comfeys come out. Looks like we are going to Lost Zone a Boss's Orders and a Lightning Energy. Yeah, so some sort of Lost Box deck. Maybe it's playing something along the lines of the Raikou V, since it has that Lightning Energy. Would not be opposed to seeing that. We are going to bench a Sableye. You usually want to save the benching of Sableye for late in the game, when you can actually attack with it. You want to protect it until that point, to where you can kind of loop it with Ordinary Rod and Clara. But I mean, honestly, I have no qualms with this player putting it down now, just because they are bricking. A Galarian Zapdos is going into the Lost Zone now. Again, that is not very good in this matchup. It's only really good against decks that use a lot of special energies, or even more importantly, are fighting weak, like Arceus V-Star. It does 170 for 4 energies, 3 of which are colorless, 1 of which is fighting, and it costs 1 less colorless for each of your opponent's V Pokemon in play. So a lot similar to the Drapion, but it's the answer to Arceus V-Star instead of how Drapion is the answer to Mew. Although the Zapdos is a lot worse because Dunsparce is a card. We are just going to retreat and attack in with the Cramorant. Does 110. Not really the type of attack you want to be doing here. You don't want to be two-shotting a Radiant Charizard. However, it's still pretty far off from being able to attack. If this deck does play Twin or Double Turbo Energy, it's still going to take 2 hard attachments from hand in order to attack with this Charizard. So this Cramorant on the next turn can just, you could just draw, Spit Innocently, pass, knock out the Charizard, and really not be any further behind. So we see this Colress's Experiment yet again is going to put 2 cards in the Lost Zone, 3 cards into hand. We have not seen any Comfey yet. Would like to see Comfeys get put into play. Battle VIP Pass goes to Lost Zone. Much too late to be seeing that. This is turn 3, as you can see above the face cam here. And there is finally a Comfey. I love how all of these players are playing the Alt Art Comfey. They are pretty nice looking, if I do say so myself. We are going to actually heal 30 damage from this Charizard. Could potentially be relevant. I don't think it really will be. But you never know. 5, 6, 7. So there's 80 left on it. So it still has 80 HP remaining. It starts with 160. So it will still be knocked out by a Cramorant at some point. It will also be knocked out by a Radiant Greninja that would attack it on the bench. So, yeah, that 30 damage probably not mattering. Only really mattering if a Sableye comes down as the way to remove the Charizard from the game. So, Flower Selecting is going to put a 5th card into the Lost Zone. I know my head is right over top of the Lost Zone counter for this deck on the right. I do apologize for that. And that is it, just a pass. It's really unfortunate that your only Comfey in play does have to stay active, and your opponent just goes Spit Innocently, pass. Taking that easy knockout on that Comfey, that is all you really wanted to do on that turn. Remove the Comfey, attack, take a prize card. We do see the Hisuian Heavy Ball is coming down now from our player on the right. We are going to be able to look through our prize cards, grab a basic Pokemon, put it into our hand, and replace it with the Hisuian Heavy Ball. However, it looks like there was just a fail there. There were no basic Pokemon in there to grab. We are seeing the Judge shuffle to make sure that those prize cards are as randomized as possible. I do love to see that Japan is taking the shuffling a little more seriously, just because in past years, they did not. I have explained that in a lot more detail in the earlier rounds. If you've missed any of those earlier rounds, I do recommend checking those out. So we just see the retreat of the Manaphy, and it looks like a Raihan. Are we going to start charging up the Charizard? No, it looks like we're putting a Fire Energy onto the Sableye, but you got to do what you got to do. Maybe get a Colress's Experiment for next turn. Maybe get a Comfey here that you can switch cart into. I mean, I don't really know what else you can even do, but since this is best of 1 format, unlike in our normal best of 3 format, where I love saying that you should scoop as soon as you know that you are not winning the game, in Japan's format, I would not scoop. I would play it out because it's only the 1 game. If you can somehow manage to swing it around, even if the game goes long, you're not really going to be surpassing that 30-minute mark. And at the very least, in the event of a tie in Japan, it is a double game loss. So personally, if I were to see that I would have lost the game and it would just be a tie, I would give my opponent the win just so that, we both don't get a loss. That would just help my own resistance. There's no reason not to, scoop in that situation. But that's the only situation where I believe in Japan you should be scooping. So we do see Radiant Greninja finally comes down here. We are going to see it dig into a Colress's Experiment that will get 2 more cards into the Lost Zone. So we are going to see the Raikou V and 1 other card. That is my favorite art of the Raikou V. I do need to get a copy for myself, although it is too expensive for my taste right now. We're also going to see a Flower Selecting. We are up to 7 cards, it looks like, in the Lost Zone right now. We might be able to see a Mirage Gate Unfortunately, because this player on the right has been conserving that Manaphy, making sure to retreat it. We saw last turn it retreated into the Sableye, and then we later saw an escape rope to even move the Sableye into the Cramorant to attack. But yeah, we're making sure that we keep this Manaphy because of the potential that Radiant Greninja shows. The Radiant Greninja could knock out both the Charizard and the Sableye at the same time, so you know that you want to keep that Manaphy in play for as long as possible. And we do see yet another Spit innocently finally takes out that Charizard. The 2-shot has happened, and the Lost Box deck on the left goes up. An additional prize card is still ahead by 1 turn now. So, not really quite sure what this player on the right can really do, just because their board state is not really built up. They do need to get Comfeys into play to start having a way to build up their hand. Lost Box really benefits from having a large hand size by using multiple choruses, experiments, and flower selectings over the course of many turns, and really only having used 1 flower selecting for this whole game and getting the other 4 cards in your Lost Zone off of just the choruses experiments just feel bad, especially now that you're using a second Raihan a second turn in a row to put yet another fire energy into play on something that's only going to be able to use it to retreat. It just, even though this player is not behind so much on prize cards, really, they're only behind 1 in a 1 prize mirror. That's not necessarily the worst, but just using Raihans really just to search a card just feels bad. You always want to use it for that energy acceleration benefit as well. But we are going to see the attack with the Cramorant using the previously charged fire energy from a Raihan. And I do believe that this is why the Charizard version of the Lost Box deck is a lot weaker. You do not have that draw from Greninja, and you do not have that 90-90 snipe to the bench with the Greninja either. So even though it is, in my opinion, usually a little bit more consistent with not having to play the Mirage Gates, the Mirage Gates just offer so much raw power in being able to attack with all different types of attackers that it just makes the deck a lot stronger in that regard. You can attack with things like Snorlax, Radiant Greninja, Raikou V, Amazing Rare stuff. Although I think the Amazing Rare stuff might have rotated. Were those D-Block? I don't remember. All I know is that they're not even good in the format anymore with all the other stuff that's rotated, so. If anyone is curious what that red note is that's above the prize cards on the left player side, that just means going second. That's what it says on it in Japanese. We are going to see the Sableye come down with a Psychic Energy. We are going to have to see what happens with that. You could remove that Manaphy from play, and then on a future turn, use Radiant Greninja in combination with Mirage Gate to knock out both a Sableye and... That's weird. My music just messed all the way up. Sorry that I'm getting distracted here, folks. It did not play through my whole playlist. And then it just auto-played something else. I don't know. YouTube autoplay hates me. We do see the Mirage Gate to the Greninja after getting that energy on the Sableye. So you can attack with... If there is a Psychic attached from hand, you could actually see the... Or was the Psychic from hand? So you could see either one of those come out potentially. So yeah, the Sableye is able to attack this turn, will knock out the Manaphy, and put some damage counters on the... Oh, no, what are we doing here? 5, 6... Okay, so 60 and 60. I do like this play a lot. So... You're not taking the prize cards here, but you're setting up multiple knockouts. There is no more scoop up net in format. You cannot scoop up that Comfey. So this play is a lot better in this format. Being able to just spread the damage counters out like that. Both of those Pokemon that were damaged are 10 HP away from being knocked out. You could then, on the next Sableye attack, actually knock out the opponent's Sableye and the Comfey and the Manaphy all at the same time, taking 3 prize cards. You could even potentially set up a 4th knockout. You could put 7 on the Sableye, and then the rest onto the Cramorant, and then maybe knock out all of the Pokemon at the same time. Taking all 4 prize cards, making it so your opponent can't Roxanne you. And it's very important to skillfully play around those Roxannes. There are a lot more ways to do that in this format now, because that scoop up net in this mirror match no longer exists. We do see, looks like what is a league promo, maybe, Nest Ball? I mean, for Japan, it's not. But for us, I believe it was a League or League Cup promo Nest Ball. I don't believe, yeah, that's not their new art. They got a different new art for Nest Ball. But always cool to see older arts of Nest Ball coming into the format. And what am I looking at? That's a Delphox V. That's a Mirage Gate. I'm confused. All right, what does Delphox V do? I just know that the card is bad. Like, I owned multiple copies of this. Delphox V, for 1 fire energy, Eerie Glow, your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned and confused. Okay, not very good. For a 2 fire, 1 colorless, magical fire, 120, put 2 energy attached to this Pokemon in the Lost Zone. This attack does 120 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Okay. So that's not bad in a Lost Box mirror, in all honesty. So, yep, so what this player is planning on doing here is they're going to knock out that active Sableye and one of those Comfeys on the bench, and have a Pokemon that's in play that will not be able to get knocked out in one hit to potentially do it again on the next turn. So yeah, maybe this player got to this 8-1 record by being able to set up Delphox V and just taking a whole bunch of knockouts with it before it could go down. Yeah, as long as your opponent does not have Manaphy in play, this Delphox V actually does seem very powerful in this mirror. Wow. Japanese players are innovative, man, I'll tell you. So yeah, we are going to see 120, and then we will Lost Zone 2 of our own energies. So probably the double... Oh, we're seeing a Lightning energy here as well. So we're going to Lost Zone the Lightning and maybe one of the Fires? I mean, you could do this... Yeah, you could do the Psychic energy, because then you're just 1 attach away from being able to attack on the next turn of any color energy. So yeah, definitely those 2 energies. So yeah, Lightning, Psychic into the Lost Zone. And then 120 to... I mean, if you did the Greninja, it's still going to live on 10. So I would rather just see the knockout of the Comfey, leaving your opponent with only 1 Comfey in play. No, he's going to go for the Greninja. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I mean, it might work. We'll just have to see. And then we see... Okay, so he Lost Zoned to the Fire energy instead of the Lightning energy, and then just took the 2 prize cards. I got a little confused for a second. And then... How did those 2 get knocked out? Oh, the Hawlucha got benched. Oh, so the Hawlucha is a lot like the Galarian Zigzagoon. The Galarian Zigzagoon, I do believe, is still in format and is able to do 10 damage or 1 damage counter, something like that, to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So did use the Hawlucha to knock out 2 of your opponent's Pokemon because they had 60 and 60 on them, and then was able to attack with Greninja to take 2 knockouts, thus taking 4 prize cards in 1 turn and winning the game. So this player on the left played this very skillfully. This is how I believe that Lost Box should be played going forward with Scarlet and Violet. This Hawlucha is just really good. Kind of forgot that card existed for a second, but of course saw it come through there. Although this Delphox V was very cute, a lot less consistent, and of course it is a 2 prizer, so if you go against, like, I mean, a Luminion can one-shot this, so this is not very good to start with against a Lugia deck, for example. It's going to put you a lot farther behind. But anyways, guys, do hope you enjoyed this match. As always, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to make sure you are notified when my new videos go live. We do have a lot of new subscribers. We're averaging more than one a day, which I know does not seem like a lot, but for a small channel like this that is only just really getting back into the swing of things, it does mean a lot. And the numbers on views are, I mean, we're getting like 100 views on some videos within 24 hours, which is a lot for somebody with just over 500 subscribers. So, as always, do appreciate it. We will see you guys next time. Do not forget to check out all the social links and whatnot in the description box below.